Hey, what's up? This is Bearj back again with another video. In my last video, I talked about some words you should never say, words you need to get away from. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you check that out. I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. But today I want to talk about 4 words you need to say more of. There are certain things in life we just don't do enough of. In fact, there are certain things in life that we need to do that we've never done. And I'm going to talk about 4 of those things today. The first word is yes. We need to say yes more. We need to say yes to more opportunities more. We need to say yes when people ask us for help. We need to say yes to other people. It's an important word to say. It's an important word to learn to say. Yes is a great way to connect with people. Yes is a great way to begin to develop relationships with new people and with other people, or to reconfigure or to renew a relationship with someone else. Say yes. The next word, no. Sure, it sounds crazy. We need to say more yes and more no. Absolutely. We need to know the right time to say each one of these words. So the right time to say yes and the right time to say no. There are times we need to say no and be affirmative with it and mean it and never go past no and say yes. We need to stick with no sometimes. Sometimes people are trying to take our time from us. And listen, if you don't keep special time for yourself, time that you can devote to developing yourself, to developing a better you, to developing your business, to spend time with your family, to spend time with your loved ones, to spend time just with yourself so you can get some quiet time and renew your mind, if you don't say no to some people, you're going to lose all of that. So you've got to know when to say no. And a great test for that is if I say yes, this is how you figure out which one to say. If I say yes or if I say no, which one will leave me better off? Now that sounds selfish, okay? And in some ways it is. At times you need to be selfish with your time. But find out, is this going to add to me or is it going to subtract from me? And I want you to think about the other person too. Are you going to add to them, or are you going to subtract to them? And another question you can ask, and this is a big one. If you say yes, are you enabling them? You don't want to be an enabler. An enabler is someone who allows someone to repeat poor behavior, bad behavior. Maybe someone's lazy and they're asking you for help because they always get behind. In that case, you need to say no, and they need to learn that they need to take care of business themselves. Maybe someone is always looking to put work off onto someone else, and you've been saying yes, and now you need to say no. Maybe someone just needs to learn things on their own, and they keep coming to you with the questions, and you need to say no. Or perhaps someone's in need, and they really need your help. And by helping them, you're going to lift them up and lift yourself up at the same time. They're questions you need to answer so you know if you should say yes or if you should say no. The next thing, the next word, actually isn't a word, it's a phrase. I am. And this is an important one too. This is super important. You know, when we talk about ourselves, many times we talk about the future, what we're going to do, what we plan to do in the future, what we're going to do tomorrow. As we say words like as soon as you saw in my last video. And we talk about the future, and we need to start talking in the present tense. And I am is the present tense. You need to speak what it is you want to be. You need to speak your dreams into existence. And the way to do that is through I am statements. Not I wills, but I am. You know, we say I am when we think we're stupid. We say, oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so lazy. I'm so unworthy. We say those in I am statements, and those things come to fruition and they become real to us. So if you want to make a better life for yourself, begin to say I am statements in the positive. And you'll have the opposite effect as the negative. That just makes sense now, doesn't it? Do the opposite if the opposite is, you get my point. I am statements. The last one. Why? This is my favorite. This was the question when I was a kid that I asked all the time. I drove my parents crazy. I drove my dad crazy. I would work with my dad. He was an electrician, and he would teach me how to do different things, and I would ask him, why? And he would get so mad at me when I asked him why, because he felt I was challenging him. And what I later figured out, as my dad got older, I realized that my dad was never really the best teacher. And because of that, he didn't know how to explain to me, so he would get angry with me when I asked him why. But why is such a powerful question. I never quit asking why no matter what. I always wanted to know the answer. Why does the sun come up in the morning and why does it set at night? Why? Ask why. I ask that question all the time. And here's a great way you can use it. Use it on yourself. When you talk about your dreams and your desires, ask yourself why they're important to you, so you can find out your passion in life. And just keep digging and digging and digging until you get to the bottom of the why basket. And when you get there, now you're working with something. You know your real why in life. You know what your passion is in life. Maybe it's your children. Maybe it's just this place you want to be because of some story that your parents told you when you were young. Who knows what it is? I know when I was a kid, I used to watch Gene London on TV, and he had this thing called the Magic Fleece, and it would transport him to Disneyland in California. And I remember going there when I was in my 30s for the very first time. And I wanted to go there. My sister was living in California, and she said to me, "Why do you want to go to Disneyland? You've been to Disney World in Florida, and it's better, it's bigger. Disneyland is little. It's like a small amusement park. It's not that big a deal." I said, "I don't care. I need to go." My why was because as a kid, I saw Gene London ride the It's a Small World ride in that park. And I dreamed as a child of being there, and I needed to be there. And I went, and I fulfilled that dream of mine. Sure, it's a silly dream, but that's just an example of the passions that we can have sometimes in our lives that make no sense to anyone else, but they make sense to us. So find your why. Here are 4 words. Yes, no, I am, and why. These are words you need to use more, say more of, and know when to use them. If you have not yet watched the words not to say to get out of your vocabulary, click the link now so you can watch those videos. I'll see you on my next video. Have a great week.